Well, hello, and welcome once again to Diaspora Digital Media, DDM for short. It's time for education and schools. And what do I mean? Simple education and schools. Anything to do with the transfer of knowledge within Nigeria and in the diaspora, anything that has to do with empowering the next generation is what education and schools is all about. And today we are looking at special education because we have different people, we are all from different backgrounds, we absorb, we assimilate at different rates. So there is a need for the trainer to look for a way of carrying everybody along. Talk of inclusive education. We are focusing today on our brothers and sisters living with disability and closer focus on albinism. My guest for this very discussion today is Mr. Alex Mvendaga. Mr. Abel, you're welcome to Schools and Education.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Who is Mr. Alex Mvendaga?
Mr. Abel Mvendaga, it's a person with albinism, as can be seen. By the way, albinism is it's a condition that a person lacks melanin in the skin, the hair, and the air, the eyes. I mean, and so Mr. Abel Mvendaga is a social change maker who has been advocating for the rights and privilege of persons with albinism. And of course, as it is widely spoken about today, education is the right of every child. And whether the child has albinism, disability, or whatever, it is their right to have education. And today, Mr. Abel is here. We will talk about the issues of inclusive education.
You're welcome,
Thank you.
Mr. Abel. So, first of all, you have already given us a brief description of albinism. Do you want
Yes.
to discuss further? What is albinism all about?
Yeah, like I said, albinism is a it's a condition,
Okay.
though a lot of people are mistaking it to be a disease. Albinism is not a disease;
Mhm.
it is a condition, and the condition it's simply because the person lack melanin from birth.
Mm.
By the way, there are two categories or more of albinism, but I will talk about the major two, which is ocular albinism and then the oculocutaneous albinism. The ocular albinism, the albinism affects only the eyes. That means it's only the skin could be normal in the sense that the person might have a black skin or any other color of the skin that seems to be a normal. The person has melanin. But when you talk about the oculocutaneous albinism, the person did not have melanin either totally or the reduced amount of melanin in their skin. And
Okay.
when someone has no melanin in their skin, it cannot tan. That means once you're in the sunshine, the situation might be in such a way that the person can burn.
Mm.
And the person, it's likely to get affected or get affected with disease like the skin cancer. You know, skin cancer is a challenge that affects persons with albinism because of lack of melanin. And this is what affects most persons with albinism who lacks basic melanin in their skin.
Mm.
However, um, a lot of people liken this to be a disease, which I earlier says it is not,
Mhm.
even medically, and it does not prevent you from being, doing, and having what you want to be in life. The only situation that may warrant you to not achieving your aim. It's the situation that an individual, once you get affected with skin cancer, if you don't take care of it, then it might limit you in the sense that medically it becomes a very big challenge. Then the second thing with person with albinism is that this is not uh, everyone, but there are some people that they have low vision. Again, there are other persons with albinism who can do any other thing like you can do, like driving, learning on the chalkboard. It also
Mhm.
depends on the level of melanin that you have. Okay? So, albinism doesn't really stop you from doing anything. So, it's not a disease. And medically, I can say it's not a disease. Doctors have also confirmed it. It's a condition.
Hmm.
So that is my take on that.
That's interesting. I'm hearing of this for the first time. So,
Yeah.
um, what are the challenges that persons with albinism face, mostly within the educational sector?
Okay. Basically, within the educational sector, persons with albinism face challenges because they are short-sightedness. Since they are many of them are short-sighted, but they find it difficult to write on the chalkboard, and because of this, they are often discriminated. Many of them usually um, right, would require devices like medicated eyeglasses, and which will support them to go ahead with their educational pursuit. And secondly, since they are suffering from or they have short-sightedness, teachers and other pupils, like the children in school, tend to bully them a lot. Why? Because they have a different skin from them. And so, since they have a different skin from them, it becomes a challenge because they are always being bullied, even from their classmates, from their teachers. And so, sometimes they do require a little bit adjustment for them to be able to cope up with some of the school challenges. So these are some of the challenges they face in education. But there is nothing wrong with their brains. They have excellent brains, and they are not uh, having any challenge um, learning at all, apart from the low side. Um, and because of the bullying, sometimes they develop low esteem, if
Mm.
not addressed earlier. And the low esteem, sometimes it's simply because of what the children, their colleagues, their peers do to them in school. It's not because they are born with it like that. So if these challenges are addressed at home, when they are in school, there's no limit that they can be able to go.
Okay, that's great. Now, with the issue of low vision
Yeah.
and Nigeria and globally, there is a lot of advancement technologically.
Yes.
So you find out that we have devices like the cell phones, the
Yeah.
laptop, computers that emit a lot of light.
Yeah.
And how do persons with albinism cope with such devices without further worsening the vision?
There are ways you can deal with that. One, these devices now can technologically, one can be able to reduce the amount of light that comes into your eyes. Like the system, the computer I have here now, I can be able to reduce the amount of light that comes into my eyes. And then the handset is also enabled with the features that you can actually reduce the amount of light that you can be able to look at. Then, when you look at eyeglasses, for instance, and you
Mm.
can be able to, there are eyeglasses that have like blue rays. They protect the eyes, and then you can use also uh, eyeglasses that have things like photochronic, photo protection, and similar devices. So they reduce the amount of light that comes into your eyes. So once you are able to control the amount of light that comes into your eyes, you are able to focus and you can be able to read that which you want to read. Secondly, there are devices that you can increase the amount of writing. You can also even bring it closer to you. You can increase it or decrease it to suit the vision that you have.
Mm.
Because all of us do not have the same vision. In as much as we are persons with albinism, some have like 2200, some have like 10200, some have basically based on the amount of vision that you are born with, and also the level of melanin that you have in your skin, which can allow you to open your eyes and the place where you are sitting or standing. Of course, learning in a sunlight like environment is not mostly good for persons with albinism, because the reflection of that sunlight tends to uh, reduce the amount of uh, vision that
Okay.
persons with albinism could have. Not really blind, or but at least, since the light is too bright, the persons with albinism tend to close his eyes a little bit to enable him focus. So with that, you have challenges in reading. However, you are not blind. You only
Mm-hmm.
have a level of visual challenges. You have like myopia, which is like short-sightedness, and then your ability to be able to see far, since you have to focus much to be able to help yourself.
How in a society that we live in, everybody's supposed to be treated equally.
Yeah.
Have you faced issues of admission into schools as or employment? The albinism community, do they have any challenges in that regard, sir?
Quickly, thank you for that question. When you talk about education, personally, while I was growing up as a person with albinism, I was bullied a lot. I was
Mm.
discriminated a lot. So, because of that, I suffered. I suffered a lot because a lot of people in the society never understood me, because when they saw different in skin, it was a different ball game to talk about. So I was bullied a lot, and because of that, I almost hated school. And when my sister was also born a child with albinism, she also suffered, and because of that, she never continued school, and then she stopped halfway in school. And for me, even in the village, I had to suffer a lot. And because of that, until when I came to the city, that was when I got opportunity to go to school. And even as at that, uh, a lot of people could tell me that you cannot do this course, you cannot offer this course. But because of the resilience and the constant pushing that I had to do, today I become a certified national accountant, and then I have gone through school to arrive at a certain point. That is through the university, to the polytechnic, and after a certain point. And when you talk about that, many persons with albinism till today are still suffering in some school because of the challenges of discrimination. Though the gap has reduced, but there is still more to be done to help them so that they can go to school. And if the challenges is reduced more, they can be able to reach. There's no limit that they can be able to reach. And when you talk about employment opportunities, persons with albinism suffer a lot of discrimination. For instance, when you talk about Plateau, the state where I am, where I am speaking right now, um, many of them only for a particular ministry, which I know, which is a Bureau of Statistics, and then maybe one or two other persons with albinism. Otherwise, they are totally not like in the civil service, they are not uh, much presence. And then when you also talk about other companies, the presence of persons with albinism in employment is very, very low. This is because of this discrimination. Discrimination because some of them, they were discriminated in school, so they never had the opportunity to go as far as they should to be able to get that specific employment they need. Secondly, many of them were not given the chances they need to be in a very good paid employment. So the discrimination is still going on with persons with albinism as I speak. Though much organizations are trying, like the Albino Foundation, they've tried to do a lot, and then like the Albinism Association of Nigeria presently, they are also trying to do that. But also a newly formed organization like the Center for Albinism Right and Empowerment Network, which is presently coming on board which is one of their areas of focus, which they'll be trying to help to campaign against the discrimination of persons with albinism as well. We're also trying to work on this so that the discrimination is reduced.
Wow. Okay. So, Abel, you said the rate of discrimination has affected a lot, and especially within the school system, to the
Yeah.
extent that quite a number of persons with albinism don't have interest in schooling because of either bullying or just plain discrimination. What more
Yes.
can be done, and which
Yeah.
organization do that?
Yeah. Like we've said before, the persons with albinism have challenges of discrimination, and that's why we so much like what inclusive education is doing. Uh, this is why we are also calling on organizations like the Albino Foundation. We are also calling on the other civil society. We are also calling on newer organizations in the albinism sector, so that they can be able to rise up to the challenges, so that the issues of discrimination for persons with albinism can be reduced. What can be done is to practice total inclusion. When we practice total inclusion in our schools, the discrimination can be reduced. It can be totally taken care of. Once there is no discrimination, persons with albinism can be able to fully go to school and they can integrate. Integration should be practiced in schools so that persons with albinism have opportunities. If they are given equal opportunities and they are able to learn, an atmosphere, a fair atmosphere to be able to learn, this can be reduced. Persons with albinism have abilities, they are very intelligent, they can learn, and once given the opportunities, they have all it takes to go to the highest level. Of course, nowadays you can see there are even professors of special education. We are gifted, we are gifted, and we have talents. These talents, with education, there is no limit that we can be able to reach. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Abel. Do you think policymakers are aware of the situation that persons with albinism face? And is there enough attention given to it, as in, are the public aware?
Yes, I think policymakers have been aware. We've been taking advocacy at advocacy level. We have been doing so much that we can to be able to reduce that. And policymakers need more advocacy. We're talking about organizations like Albinism Association of Nigeria, and then currently, there's a new organization called Center for Albinism Rights and Empowerment Network here in the plateau, on the plateau, where they also focus on issues of persons with albinism. And we advocate more to these legislators, and we are and presently also will we be advocating, we will be visiting House of Assembly and other lawmakers to talk more about issues of persons with albinism. And we believe that when this is done, when much of advocacy and awareness is done, and the policy, even though we have national policy on albinism, we are not using it that much. But with this, we will advocate more for its usage and then also passage so that we can be able to work more with it in the disability space, and persons with albinism can be given or should be given that equal opportunity and recognition by the law as they required.
Thank you very much, Abel, for that. We really must commend your efforts despite all the horrifying conditions that persons with albinism go through. Uh, Before we now cap it up completely, there are instances where we've had in the past traditional beliefs that sometimes persons with albinisms are the cure to HIV or some mysterious diseases like that. Have you encountered any of that? And what is your association doing about such things, if there are?
Yeah, there are many instances like that. For instance, myself, while I was growing up, I faced such challenges as well. Such challenge of discrimination, talking about some people will call you names, or some people will say you were born because of evil spirit. Some people, it's all sort of nasty things. And that is why our organization is bent on is doing all within our power, and also calling on the federal and state government to come to our aid, because so that we can dispel this myth. All these things are not true. For instance, while I was a child, I was told I came up with albinism because my mother made love to a white guy who left from Jamaica or from a white country to come to Africa, and that was it. Funny as it is, those are all the stories, horrifying stories that people tell about albinism. Well, our organization is trying to dispel this myth, and our organization is trying to also uh, throw more light and then enlighten the society about issues of albinism. Albinism is
Okay.
just yeah, the issues of lack of melanin. That's all. Nothing. So once the society is able to understand the basic facts, then the issues of discrimination is died down, and then
Yeah.
we are able to
Yeah.
also enlighten the leaders of the community and the society, so that um, the general public also will know that persons with albinism are normal people. They can be, they can do, they can have anything, and they can grow up to any level that they want. Nowadays, there are professors of albinism as
Yes.
well.
Okay. Yes, let's use 1 minute or so to advise parents who uh, discover have children who come up with albinism. And but while you're answering that, maybe you start with is it a genetic thing? Is it passed from parent to child? And what advice will you give parents? Just a minute.
Yeah, one of the things is to tell parents that one of the basic things they can do for persons with albinism is to love these children. Once they crown these children with love, they can also first of all love themselves, and then they can go out in the society, because albinism is simply a genetic condition, which before you can give birth to any child with albinism, both parents must have they must have the genetics condition. So albinism doesn't come from any mystic power anywhere. So, but both parents have the albinism genes. Okay, once both parents carry the recessive gene, they can have albinism. So it is what both of them come together. That is a male and a female. They produce the albinism. Okay, once both of them have the career, they can produce albinism. But if you don't have, no problem. But it's also religiously, it is also described as the act of nature and the acts of God. So they should accept persons with albinism for who they are, and they should love them.
Yes. So as we close the program now, do people with albinism have difficulty in socializing to the point of getting married with persons without albinism?
Yes, it's just because of the natural challenges. I mean, natural discrimination. Because uh, nowadays, if you look at everybody is black, when all the other persons are black and you come with a different skin, socializing becomes problem. Because most persons with albinism, even at home, they are told they are not good enough. Even their parents sometimes tell them this statement, and
Hmm.
which is why when you are being told times without number you're not good enough, even when you see a girl that would have toasted, that at sometimes a lot of people says, oh no, I won't be able to go there because this person is not good enough, or I'm not good enough. And so mothers or fathers tend to limit the abilities of these children. And once they begin to love them, that will naturally go away.
Okay. Wow. It's quite a sad narrative that we have such level of discrimination, and our own fellow Nigerians, fellow citizens of the world, humans like us, are going through such challenges. But
Yeah.
kudos to you and your association for all the strides you're taking. Be rest assured that Diaspora Digital Media would always be available to partner with you in all ways possible. That is from this side. Mr. Abel Mvendaga, thank you
Yeah.
very much for having time to come to our program.
Thank you so much, Mbava.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard it all. We have a duty to extend a hand of friendship to each person that God has given the gift of life. We have been brought together to live together for a purpose, and nobody is more equal than another simply because he or she is different in any way. So let's join hands together and let's raise our voices and accommodate. Let us be inclusive in sports, in every facet of life, in governance, in employment, in education, to make sure we have a better Nigeria for everybody. Thank you very much for having the time. Thank you so much, Ernest, for being there. And please join us next time on yet another edition of Schools and Education on Diaspora Digital Media. My name is Ron Pan Jr. saying thanks for watching.